And welcome back. We have with us this morning Freddie Howell, as promised. And Freddie Howell is a candidate for Nash County Commissioner District 3, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Certainly glad to have you here. Freddie, we're going to learn a little bit about you. I certainly learned who Freddie was by accident. I go to the farmer's market every single Saturday that I'm in town during the summer and the fall, and love it. I just love it. Love fresh vegetables, and been buying produce from you for a long time. And you have been there at that first. If you want to know who Freddie Howell is and Howell Farms and all his great help, right there when you walk in the second building on the right, you have every single produce. How in the world do you do it?
We've been very blessed and been fortunate. Been doing it for quite a few years now, and we partner up with Rob Glover out of Bailey, and he's been a great partner with us, and it just works good together and mixed between the two of us, and we represent him over there as well. And we try to keep the customers with fresh vegetables and keep them with what's in season.
Mm-hmm.
Eating fresh vegetables, of course, is healthy and it's beneficial for us all, and we want to make sure we provide that service to as many people as we can in the community.
Well, I've never had any complaints with his vegetables, I can tell you that, or fruit, or anything.
Well, we appreciate the support.
Absolutely. So, I noticed, Freddie, on your, well, let's first learn a little bit about you. You had 25 years with Lowe's.
Yes, ma'am. So I worked with Lowe's Home Improvement. I started off in the store, actually the store there in Zebulon where I was started out at, and worked there for a while, and we moved around to numerous different stores in the area. Probably for the last 12 to 15 years, I was an area installation manager and basically handled all the installation teams and the appliance repair companies. Around $60-70 million worth of business a year.
Wow.
For Lowe's.
Yeah.
And after 25 years, decided to go a different direction.
So you just decided you wanted to farm.
So how we got started was when we were working at Lowe's, both of my daughters played travel softball.
Okay.
And those of you that have kids or grandchildren that play on travel teams, you know it gets quite expensive into traveling. And so the team started doing fundraisers with our plants, and we started doing the plants for fundraisers for them.
Oh, wow.
And it just branched out, and we grew from there. And my wife's family, she's a fifth generation farming family. They've been in farming for a long time. Her grandmother ran a nursery business for over 50 years. Matter of fact, her aunt still continuing that business on as well, and they're a vendor at the market with us also.
How long have you lived in Middlesex?
So I have been at my current residence for over 25 years, and before that I was down the road 5 years, about half a mile. Before we got married and moved into a place down the road there. So I've been on Massey Road for over 30 years.
So you know the area pretty well.
Yes, ma'am. Know it quite well.
And the folks, the citizens there, and you know them pretty well. So you're running for District 3, which is, Freddie, tell us, it's Middlesex, Bailey.
Yes, ma'am. So it's all the way up to the county line of Wake County. As far as the far southern end of the county, it takes in Middlesex, it takes in Spring Hope, takes in Bailey, Mount Pleasant, Samaria, those areas there. Kind of just the southern tip.
Southern end of the county.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so you're some of the things I've seen on your website and your Facebook, you say putting my experience to work for you. What does your experience, talk about your experience to be able to do this?
Well, that's one of the holdbacks that kind of holding me back in getting into this. I'm not a politician. I'm just a person that likes to do good for my family, do good for my community, and I just think it's time for a change. We need better representation in the southern end of Nash County.
Okay.
And so just seeing the things that are taking place, growth is coming. As you know, North Carolina has over 10 million population now, and they're saying by the year 2030 we're going to add another 5 million plus.
Right.
Our cities are full, so they're expanding out into more of the rural areas, and I just want to make sure that as this expansion takes place, that we're going about it a smart way and have our proper infrastructure in place, and we're protecting our first responders, our law enforcement, and that we're doing the right thing and being transparent about it to the people that we represent.
Right. Well, your area is going to be, or is in the process of being the beneficiary of a lot of growth from Raleigh just spilling over
Absolutely.
into your area, and you've got to be able to maintain services, up your game. If you're going to have more population, I mean, you're going to have to up your game. So what are some of the concerns you have for your area?
So some of the concerns I have is, I think you've had Sheriff Keith Stone on here already. The constraints that we're putting on our law enforcement in Nash County definitely needs to be addressed. He's sounded the alarm, and one thing about the law enforcement and also about our EMS, when you pick up the phone and you call for their services, you don't need a vacancy. You don't need they're not available. You don't need a delayed response.
Right.
You need immediate response, and they're all doing the best they can do with what they have.
Right.
But our EMS stations have been shut down multiple times. At Station 400, which is Mount Pleasant, which puts additional burdens on the other ones, and the staff is overworked. I mean, they've had turnover over 45 people in the last 3 years they've lost out of total staff of 110, and that's including administrative and managers. So large turnover. They're working longer shifts. They've changed their pay structure. It's just impacting the morale of the team. And this is not a dig by no means at all on our staff. We have some of the finest paramedics and some of the finest EMTs in and around the area.
But you can't do but so much with
but you're limited to
with
what you
a
can
little
do.
right.
Yeah, we just need to provide them the resources they need. And like you said, the growth is coming. So we have to. This is one of the areas that we have to be ahead of. We can't be behind.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that's part of the reason why we need to change in Nash County and the southern end.
Right.
To be able to put that focus there on that and get that attention taken care of.
Well, if somebody's having a heart attack, you can't send to the northern end of the county for a rescue vehicle.
Or actually, sometimes we go out of the county and we
Really?
have to respond from Johnston County or Wake County.
Oh, wow. And as I said, if you've got a medical emergency that is emergent, you want help quickly. And sometimes time is of the essence.
We do have the quick response vehicles, but the problem again is we're so short-staffed. A lot of times those quick response vehicle paramedics are actually on the ambulance at other stations. Therefore, when they're on those other ambulances, we don't have the quick response vehicles to get there. And even when a quick response vehicle can get there, it's one person. And it takes two to drive an ambulance, one to drive the ambulance and one to provide service in the back.
Right.
So it limits what they can do. And our citizens in Nash County, deserve better.
Absolutely.
And so do our paramedics and EMT personnel. So.
Right. So what are some more of your concerns, Freddie, as far as, I know you say agriculture. What about agriculture?
Yes, just as we plan and move forward with the growth, we know it's fixing to explode. Just talked about the number of people that's coming to North Carolina. So as this growth is coming, we need to be smart about the growth and plan the growth. A lot of these pop-up subdivisions that we've put in are out in the rural part of the county, and it creates a food desert for those individuals there that's economically challenged. They get them in a home, but then yet their grocery store, the pharmacy is so far away from the home, they're not within walking distance. So we need to consider those not just a house, but it needs to be a community there that can support and sustain those houses and those people, being able to have access to food and access to medicine within a close distance. And then also the impact that has to the county as well. Again, it goes back to Sheriff Keith Stone, and the more houses you add in, then the more patrol we need to be able to protect and serve those individuals in that area.
Okay. Well, Freddie, so at what point did you realize I really want to do this? I really have to run?
Well, just seeing the direction.
Did you have citizens talking to you saying you need to do
I've had
this
some
for
people
us?
in the community that's talked to me. They've been talking to me for a while, and it's just we need a change in leadership in Nash County, and just seeing the direction that we're going, and we're at that point, as you mentioned, there's already spillover coming into Nash County from Wake County, from Johnston County. Franklin County starting to pick up as well, and I'm afraid that if we don't do something now, that it's going to be to a point where it's going to be hard to recover and keep it and be in front of it. We're at a critical point to where we can make changes now about the smart growth, about our infrastructure, to where we can be better prepared for the growth that's coming.
Sure. Well, Freddie, it was nice having you on this morning, getting to know you, and Howell Farms. I just highly recommend. Y'all do a great job, and if you win as commissioner, I know you'll do a great job there. If you want to ask people for the vote, you can certainly do so.
Absolutely. Please get out and exercise your right on March the 5th and vote in the primary. Freddie Howell, Nash County Commissioner.
All right. Well, thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a
We'll
pleasure.
have you back on. At another time, first of the year, the primary is March the 5th, I believe,
Yes,
isn't
ma'am.
it? Primary is March the 5th, so we will see Freddie again before then. So we'll be right back with you with Roger and myself right after this.